From the lights of Lady Liberty's torch to the actions in Madison Square Gardens and the vast paparazzi of the cameras, New York has been known as the Empire State, Gotham City, and the Big Apple. For Florida, they have sunshine. For Idaho, they are known for those famous potatoes. For Georgia, they have those sweet Georgia peaches. And for California, they have those juicy oranges. But we have Batman and Robin too. As my speech alluded to, I will be talking about the major nicknames given to New York City. A lot of us in this classroom are at least from different countries and states, so we have at least one thing in common, and we have grown to love, come to love New York City. When we think of riches and real estate, we think of Donald Trump. When we think of wealth, we think of Warren Buffett. But when we think of fame, we think of the 2008 New York Giants. New York City acquired its name Empire State because of its vast wealth and variety of resources, according to Benjamin S. Shearer, author of State Names, Seals, Flag, and Cities. The name became so popular in the mid-50s and mid-60s that license plates were named after the Empire State, and even cigarettes were named. This is a cigarette in the Caribbean called the Empire Exhibition, but it was in Scotland, and things like the Empire State Building was named, Empire Express train was named, and also print media helped to publicize the name. And this name was New York City was known for this name for almost 200 years. In 1785, in a letter to Mayor James Duane, George Washington wrote a letter saying that he was free. And it was at this first time that the name Empire State was published in the paper. And I quote, "At present, the seat of empire. New York's resources appear like those of mighty flourishing empire." Those were the words taken from a New York Spectator article. This tells us that the people here in New York City were business savvy. Know-it-alls, according to Washington Irving, King John wanted to build a hunting lodge in Gotham City. This was a way of getting more money from the persons living in Gotham. So the villagers living in Gotham didn't want to pay any money, so they came up with a plan to not pay the taxes. So when the king came back with his kingsmen, he found the villagers screaming, running around, acting crazy. This was a way of them not paying taxes. To put it in present state, today CUNY is trying to increase our tuition by 10%, and we really do not want that. So we would actually make a protest or probably withdraw from classes, anything like that, just not to pay the tuition. The name Gotham came about, the people living in Gotham were considered Gothamites, and they were called that because they were wise fools. They avoided paying the taxes, and that's how the name started. Washington Irving was this guy who wrote satirical essays, and he poked fun at New York City, at their sophistication, saying that we're self-important but foolish persons. So it was after this time in 1807 that the name became popular. And also the famous cartoon character, as we know, Batman, is Gotham City. Big shots and fellows, according to Gerald Cohen, were New Yorkers. An old saying in showbiz was, there are many apples on the tree, but only one big apple, referring to New York City. Even though times were hard, musicians still wanted to come to New York and play. And in that time, in the 1920s and 40s, music gigs were considered apples, and to have a chance to play in New York City was considered a big time, hence the term Big Apple. In the late 1930s, in his column, Joe Fitzgerald, according to Joe Zito, according to John Fitzgerald, used the term Big Apple from guys living in New Orleans, which were stable boys, and the term was used by this guy, and they were enthusiastic to come to New York City because of the big money and the opportunities here, so they referred to New York City as the Big Apple. So media helped publicize. This is Fletcher Henderson, a jazz band leader, and he helped to promote the name Big Apple. And this also is Bobby Poppy, which has helped with the transition of the name in Racehorse, because in Racehorse, the apple was used as a prize to give to winners. And this is also a dance called a Lindy Hop, where this helped publicize the name, and also the dance called Big Apple. So and then by the 1970s, the name Big Apple was getting stale, so Mayor Charles Gillett tried to revive the name, so they came up with the term, revived the term, and then they started the I Love New York campaign, which was publicized on shirts, pins, buttons, bumper stickers, and anything you could think of. So what would be a more reviving way to start the renewal of the name was with a big plum, juicy red apple. That's it.